I thought I had a solid 11-year marriage until I busted my wife cheating in a parking lot with a guy from her past. I started digging, and the more I found, the worse it got. Not only did she lie and sneak around with him, but she admitted to fantasizing about him for years and now wants to leave our family for him. Hey everyone, I've seen how helpful this place is, so here goes. Maybe I'm just paranoid, maybe not, but it honestly feels like something from my wife's past has finally caught up to me, and now my whole life is spinning out. My name's Brian, 32 male, and my wife Lisa, 31F, and I have been married for 11 years, living out in Detroit with our 2 daughters, ages 7 and 4. Up until now, if you'd asked me, I'd have said our marriage was great, going way back. About 11 years ago, Lisa and I were still just dating when we went over to her parents' house one night. Out of nowhere, her best friend Olivia started grilling me, asking what I was waiting for, why I hadn't proposed yet. Lisa just stood back smiling, not at all stopping Olivia. It hit me. I was definitely the guy on the spot. But honestly, I was happy they wanted me in the family. I loved Lisa so much that I started saving for a ring. 2 years later, we got married. Now, we've got 2 amazing little girls together. Getting married was hands down one of the best days of my life. Lisa wanted a huge wedding, and even family from Puerto Rico flew over. We weren't rich, but we both worked hard. I run operations at a renovation company, and Lisa owns her own nail salon, which made total sense since she always had an eye for fashion. She'd argue about that, but she really was extra when it came to style. She was always up on the latest trends, wanted the newest phones, the best heels, the designer labels. Sometimes I had to roll my eyes, but it was her money. When we became parents, things changed. She traded some of the glam for practicality, used her last year's iPhone, skipped the high-end stuff except for holidays or vacations, focused on the girls. I did the same, and even though I sometimes missed her old ways, I realized family was more important. All that felt like distant history recently, though. What set everything off was this old friend of Lisa's. So a couple months ago, we were at our neighborhood supermarket with the girls. Our oldest can't live without those cherry Pop-Tarts. Lisa took her to pick a box, and when they got back, she was chatting and laughing with some guy I didn't recognize. She introduced me, said his name was Marcus, a blast from her past, who used to date her old coworker from years back, someone named Jade. At first, I thought nothing of it. Marcus was friendly, seemed happy to see the family. Lisa and he caught up a bit, but I did notice she was beaming at him in a way I hadn't seen in a while. Whatever, I shrugged it off and told Lisa it was time to get home for dinner. In the car, Lisa told me how shocked she was to see Marcus and that he and Jade had broken up. I asked when she last talked to Jade, and she said, about 4 years ago, so I figured they'd lost touch and moved on. Except Lisa and Marcus clearly didn't move on. Soon, they were keeping in touch. He'd pop up on her social media. She'd take calls from him, some lasting late into the night. I chalked it up to reconnecting at first, but as their conversations got longer and more frequent, I started getting an uneasy feeling. It really boiled over on Super Bowl Sunday. That afternoon, Lisa was on the phone with Marcus. I needed her, so I asked a question. After she answered, she came over smiling and handed me the phone. Marcus wanted to talk to me, asking if I was watching the game, who I was rooting for. We both said the Lions, and he invited me to watch it at a party his friend was throwing. I said sure, but since we had a crew of kids over, he laughed and said, maybe next time. A bit later, Lisa said Marcus invited us to his friend's party. She called her brother Rick to grab his kids early, and we went together, showing up just in time for halftime. The host was a die-hard Bengals fan, and everyone was joking and trash-talking. Pretty standard. But all I could focus on was Lisa and Marcus, how close they were. She kept cozying up to him and lighting up every time he looked her way, like I wasn't even there. Trying not to lose it, I got a drink and at some point found them in the corner talking quietly. The body language was off. Lisa giggling, Marcus holding her hand, him looking at her like a predator. Then, Lisa walked to the kitchen, Marcus trailing her and blatantly staring at her in her yoga pants. Even another woman noticed. Lisa kept flirting back, smiling at him over her shoulder. I tried to tell myself I was exaggerating, but by the end of the night, my gut was in knots. On the way home, I confronted Lisa. Is Marcus trying to hit on you? She laughed it off, said I was being ridiculous. I let it drop, but I couldn't shake what I'd seen. From then on, every red flag waved in my face. Lisa was glued to her phone 24/7, constantly talking to Marcus or mentioning him to Olivia. She started keeping her phone on her at all times, guarding it like a secret. Calls went later and later. When I'd ask who she was talking to, she'd dodge the question or say it was Olivia. 2 nights ago, everything boiled over. On Lisa's day off, she said she was headed to Olivia's to do her mother's nails. That was normal. I didn't think much of it. Later that evening, my youngest wanted pizza. I called Lisa to say don't bother cooking, but her phone went straight to voicemail. Tried again, still nothing. That was never like her. I let it go for a half hour, then called Olivia. She picked up, said Lisa had left after getting a call. Lisa's supposed to do Olivia's mom's nails, but bailed and told Olivia to send her mom to the salon instead. Olivia was pissed and said she didn't know who called Lisa, but she left suddenly. That's when it hit me. Lisa was with Marcus. I lost it. I wanted to drive straight to his place and catch her, but I had the girls at home. My mom didn't pick up, so I called my best friend Daniel and explained everything. He said, bring the girls over, even though he lives all the way across the city. I dropped them off. Took 30 minutes that felt like hours. When I explained to Daniel, he insisted I take his car, so Lisa wouldn't spot mine. He offered to come with me, but I refused. This was my burden to carry. Driving up and down Marcus's street, I kept hoping I was wrong. But then I saw Lisa's car, her silver Kia, parked right there. She came out of Marcus's apartment in a pink sweatsuit. While Marcus was in just a tank top and shorts, barely dressed, he stood way too close as she said goodbye. That's all I needed to see. I raced home, managed to beat her, put the girls to bed, and waited. When Lisa walked in 40 minutes later, she was cold and barely acknowledged me. I demanded to know why her phone was off and where she'd been. She said her battery died and stuck to her story about Olivia's house. Even after I told her Olivia said she left hours ago. Lisa brushed me off, looked annoyed, then went to watch TV. Since then, she's been a totally different person. Barely talks to me, spends all her time in the dining room, head buried in her phone, looking at me like I'm the problem. My head is spinning with suspicion and anger, but I still don't have concrete proof. Yet, the signs are all there, especially after seeing them together at the party, and now at Marcus's house behind my back. I'll update if anything changes. But seriously, am I overreacting? Or have I just caught my wife cheating, and my whole life's about to flip upside down? Update 1. Thank you everyone for your advice and support. It's really helped me. I wasn't going to post again so soon, but so much has happened since the last update that I had no choice but to fill you in. When Lisa and I ran into Marcus at that grocery store, I had no way of knowing it would lead here. Since then, things went totally off the rails. They started talking constantly, laughing, giggling, and sharing inside jokes. Lisa even teaching him Spanish, like some inside little club I wasn't part of. He'd call her late at night. They'd swap photos on Facebook. He left comments on everything. Every time I brought up how inappropriate it all seemed, Lisa accused me of being jealous. The Super Bowl party haunted me. Marcus couldn't keep his eyes or hands off Lisa, and she never put him in check. I told her, and she said I was being paranoid. Then the other night, when I caught her bailing on Olivia and found her with Marcus, it broke me. I called Daniel again, for backup and for sanity. Even he said, man, it looks like she's sleeping with him. I didn't catch them in the act that night, but my mind was made up. I needed hard proof. So over the weekend, I bought a voice recorder and carefully hid it in Lisa's car. When I tested it during a McDonald's run with the girls, it worked fine. Next, I put it in Lisa's car, hoping I'd finally get answers, proof of a conversation or even something explicit between her and Marcus. For a few days, I did my best to act chill, pretend like nothing was wrong, never said his name, just played it cool to make Lisa let her guard down. Daniel called me a genius, but honestly, I felt crazy. This wasn't the life I wanted. A couple nights ago, I snatched the recorder and listened. It caught them chatting in the car. Marcus called Lisa sexy. They laughed, flirted, she giggled. At one point, I heard Lisa invite him over. The rest of the recording wasn't as clear. Other people in the car, music blasting, everyone talking over each other. But it was enough. I started piecing together who else knew. Called Daniel, repeated what I heard, and he shook his head, saying my wife was a high-value cheater, hoping I finally caught her red-handed. I waited until Lisa closed up her nail salon and tried to catch her in the act. Pulling up that night in Daniel's car, I watched from a distance. Inside, the salon was empty except for Lisa, Marcus, and Lisa's business partner, a woman named Shelly. Lisa was all dressed up, while Marcus had his arms wrapped around her as they talked. They didn't even try to hide anymore. After about 20 minutes, things got hot. Marcus started kissing Lisa's neck, grabbing her butt, practically pinning her to the wall, while Shelly just awkwardly watched. Soon after, Shelly left, but I followed her and called her out. She tried to play dumb. but I told her everything I'd seen. We had a heated argument, with Shelly saying, "I'm not the cheater. Don't blame me, your wife's with Marcus." I called her a liar, but she spilled that Lisa and Marcus had only been hooking up for about a month, and that Lisa would use the salon or Marcus's house as cover. I told her I had proof and would use it if this ended up in court. She shrugged and walked away. I watched Lisa and Marcus disappear into the salon's basement, someplace I knew well. Lisa had looked into expanding down there once. That was it. Couldn't watch anymore. I called my wife, but she ignored it. I banged on the basement door, but they didn't come up. I drove back to Daniel's place, told him everything. As we talked, Olivia called. Lisa told her everything, wanted to talk to me the next day. I said fine. That night, anxiety and heartbreak ate at me. I did everything right. So how did my marriage fall apart for a guy like Marcus? This wasn't a one-time mistake. They'd been sneaking around blatantly for weeks, maybe months. I guess now it's up to her, and if I don't like what she says, I'm filing for divorce. Update 2. Thanks again for all the support, everyone. Some of you figured I'd cave if Lisa wanted to reconcile, but that ship has sailed. Ever since Lisa and I bumped into Marcus at the store, she's been gone emotionally, lost to this fantasy and apparently this guy. With all the evidence I've gathered, there's no more denying what's really happened. After I caught Lisa and Marcus kissing in her nail salon late at night, Olivia called. Lisa wanted to explain. The next day, I waited for Lisa to call. She didn't. That was fine though. I used the time to notify family, call a lawyer, and take our daughters to my mom's place for the weekend. My mom is old school. She blamed me for marrying Lisa and said she didn't trust me alone with the kids right now. Saturday, I was deep in my own thoughts when I heard the door. Lisa and Olivia came in together. Lisa looked nothing like her usual self. No makeup, hair messy, old sweats, nothing like the glamorous woman I knew. She looked ashamed, like she'd been found out. Olivia asked me to let Lisa speak, then stepped outside. Lisa said she had to come over, that after I'd seen her with Marcus, she was scared to come home. She asked about the kids. I told her they were at my mom's. She was mad I'd told Shelly, her business partner, about Marcus, but I explained Shelly confessed quickly to cover herself. Lisa argued, but I told her it's done. Lisa finally confessed everything, said she was sorry. She admitted fantasizing about Marcus for years, even back when he was dating Jade. She and Jade would even talk about Marcus's sexts at work. Lisa thought he was handsome and always wondered what if. She said that after our run-in at the grocery store, he asked for her number, started flirting, then sexting. She hung out with him more and even bailed on Olivia to be with him that night I caught her. When I asked if she had slept with him, all she could say was, "I'm sorry." She described how he manipulated her to come over for a hangout, then made a move and she didn't stop him. I lost it, yelled at her, called her names, told her she ruined our marriage. Lisa said she didn't expect forgiveness and admitted she wanted to pursue a full-on relationship with Marcus instead of being married to me. It turns out she wanted Marcus even before we were married. Our bumping into him just reignited everything. She said when he told her his relationship with Jade had never been serious, it made her happy. When he started flirting again, it gave her hope, and clearly, she acted on it. She insisted that ending the marriage was for the best. She no longer wanted to be my wife while thinking about someone else. I argued about how she'd betrayed me and our family. She argued that she was just acting on feelings she'd always had but repressed. She took off with Olivia after that. Since then, life has been hell. I met with the lawyer, filed for divorce, and did my best to explain to our daughters that their mom wanted to live somewhere else. We even drove by Marcus's house, a rundown spot full of random dudes on the porch. When I asked our girls if they wanted to stay there, they said, "Not for $1 million. Lisa called, asking to see them. I told her to go to my mom's house if she dared. She hung up, knowing my mom wouldn't have it. I sent her a final text. Only contact me about the divorce and about the girls. Right now, all I care about is taking care of my daughters. Whatever Lisa decides to do next, it's not my problem. I know Marcus isn't about to give up his lifestyle, and maybe that's something Lisa will have to learn for herself. I've read so many stories about people busting their partners cheating, but you never think it'll be you. I'm angry, I'm hurt, but I'm not alone thanks to everyone here. Lisa showed her true colors, selfish to the end. She shattered her own standards for Marcus and made me live up to hers. Feels like this is what a lot of good men are facing these days. Is it even possible to trust anyone anymore? This'll be my last update. Thanks again, everyone, for all the help and support. This story ends right here. It's clear that even long-term relationships can unravel quickly when old feelings resurface and truths come out. Navigating betrayal is never easy, especially with kids involved and public exposure of private struggles. What do you think? Do you think there's ever any real warning before someone cheats, or are some betrayals impossible to see coming? Let me know in the comments.